do we have a more sustainable way to deal with the stress? Because yes, there are, but we may not be aware of it. Emotions is the key. Let me ask you a question. How many of us are aware about our emotions? Say, suppose I ask you, what is the emotion that you have right now? Probably most of us will say, I don't have any emotion right now, which is not true. It is just that we are not in touch with our emotions. That's it. So, the primary factor that we need to focus upon is we need to get in touch with our emotions. I don't know how many of you practice journaling exercise on a regular basis, but that is how you can actually locate what are the different emotions that you had. Okay, this I would like to give as a homework from today onwards. Map the emotions that you have been experiencing throughout the day on a regular basis. I'll give you an example. On one day, you may wake up with a very boring or very sad emotion. On another day, you may wake up with a lot of energy and enthusiasm. On another day, you may wake up confused. Recognize them. And then, as the day goes along, you will have multiple emotions coming in and going. So just start recognizing them. Suppose you wake up with a lot of energy and enthusiasm, but you get stressed when you see a lot of vessels falling in the dishwasher and you have to get it washed. Then you are disappointed. Then once you get into work, you again feel fresh, you feel more energetic, and your boss scolds you badly in front of other colleagues. Then you feel shattered, you feel very bad, sad, disgusted, or I mean, I'm just giving examples. So, and then again, your boss may appreciate you for something else, and then your emotion will be different. So you will have multiple emotions coming in your life on a regular basis, and start recognizing them on a day-to-day basis. That's a homework which you can continue. Let us look at this emotions when we are stressed. Most of us will have either worry or tensed. We will have fatigue. We will have fear, anxiety, anger, irritation or frustration, helplessness, restlessness. Somebody may be disappointed. There will be a displeasure. Some may be nervous. Some may feel inadequate. Some may feel powerless. There might be hysterical. Some may feel hostile. Some may feel agony. These are all the emotions that we experience when we are stressed. It need not be, I mean, all the emotions may not be coming at the same time. It may come in combinations or standalone, independent. I mean, one of the emotions may come independently, and that may also get into a stressful situation. But what we need to do is we need to start recognizing our emotions in general and also these emotions in particular. This is the first step that we need to adopt. How many of you are already aware of all these emotions that are coming in your life and being the primary triggers for the stressful situation? Can I have your answers on the chat box? The question is very simple. How many of you are aware of these emotions triggering the stressful situation? Great, Vidya. If you are able to recognize them, then your half work is already done. Anybody else? Can I have responses from others? Okay. Yes, great. Interesting that a lot of people you are already recognizing these emotions. Interesting. Do you also recognize The combination of these emotions, sometimes you may feel inadequate and at the same time you may feel worried. Interesting. So the half work is done. Let us focus on emotion focused coping because all other methods are distracting, but they are not helping. Emotion focused coping involves regulating your feelings and emotions or emotional responses to the problem. So, how to do it? Suppose your parents, old parents, are there with you and they have an expectation from you which you are not able to suffice or which you are not able to fulfill. They keep asking you, did you do that? Did you do that? Initially, you will answer, no, I didn't do that. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it day after. I'll do some other day. And when they keep on asking every day, how will you feel? You will feel stressed. So there are, in classical psychology, there are two ways of dealing with stress. One is removing the stress causing agent, which is possible only few times. Suppose there is a noise happening outside, I can close the windows and door so that I can isolate myself from the noise. But, or if somebody else is disturbing you, you may convey to them that please don't disturb, I'm getting stressed. Can we do it later? But in most of the situations, we will not be able to remove the stress causing agent. When I say stress causing agent, it can be a person, it can be a place, it can be a situation, or it can be a thing. That is why we need to understand emotion focused coping mechanism. I have come out with a formula called RASM to deal with stress. Rasam is a dish that is almost all the South Indians are well aware of, and most of the North Indians are also aware of. And I think right now the whole world knows what is rasam means. Rasam is a dish which is very good in improvising your digestion and your health in general. And I thought rasam can give us a solution to deal with the stress also. R stands for recognize the emotion that get evoked and changes happen within you. When I say changes, it is not just only in terms of your mental aspect, but also the physical aspect. When you are stressed, there will be vibrations, there will be change in the vibrations in your body, there will be change in the blood flow in your body, there will be a change in your facial expressions. So there will be a lot of changes within you, both mind and body. Recognize the emotions as well as the changes that happen within you. The first thing. I'm very glad that most of you have already been recognizing your emotions. So you need to go one step ahead and see what are the changes that happen within you. Suppose you have trembling in your legs when you're stressed, recognize that. Suppose you get starting becoming very hot in your body, recognize that. So whatever the changes may be, start recognizing them. Once recognition is done, the second step is to acknowledge the things that you have recognized. Suppose I'm feeling fearful, but if I'm not acknowledging it, then the problem will sustain. I'll tell you why. For example, let me take my example. If when I'm coming to give a speech here, if I'm feeling nervous, and if I say that no, I'm not nervous, I've been speaking on various platforms, so I don't feel any nervous, then I'm actually disowning my emotion, disowning my experience, disowning things that are happening in my body. Suppose I say, yes, I'm feeling little nervous, but I think that much nervous is good for me, then I'm acknowledging it. The moment you are acknowledging something which you already have, then it opens up the gate to work on these things. Suppose you are getting a lot of anger because of certain things, and you say, no, I am a coolest person in the world, then you are actually disowning and disregarding the emotion that is getting evoked in you. So the second step is to acknowledge the emotion that you have. The third thing is find out the sources of stress that you experience in a day to day basis. A lot of people, whenever I conduct stress management workshops, I ask a lot of people, yes, I agree that you have stress, but who are all the stress causing agents? They have no answer. Either they end up saying, okay, my spouse or my boss and my colleague, there the whole thing ends. But what I also observe is a lot many times the stress causing agent may be environmental also. There may be some uh, traffic that is happening on the road because of which you might have got stressed. And what you do is you take out all your stress on somebody at home or somebody who is close to you. Hence, finding out the source is very important. I don't know how many of you have already found the various sources. So, in one of the workshops that I was conducting, one person had 16 sources of stress. If you are already aware of all the 16 sources, then it is easy to deal with it. And sometimes stress is not external, it is internal also. You yourself exert stress on you. For example, your boss gives a task and asks you to finish in a week's time. You yourself want to be outperforming others, so you will put stress on yourself and try to finish it in 3 days. Not necessary. So find out the sources, whether it is internal or external, and how it is getting triggered. The emotion that comes in whenever each stress cause. I mean, it is basically mapping the stress causing agent and then what is the emotion that gets evoked. Suppose parents is the stress causing agent. Okay, what is the emotion that is getting evoked? If boss is the stress causing agent, what is the emotion that is getting evoked? If colleague is the stress causing agent, what is the emotion that is getting evoked? If you are able to map the stress causing agent and the emotion that is getting evoked and the changes that happen in your body and mind, that is when we are finishing 75% of our work. And the fourth is mechanism to deal with each of the stress causing agent. Every stress causing agent will need a different mechanism to deal with the stress. Suppose your boss is stressing you or your colleague is stressing you, then the way you need to deal with it is different. If traffic is a stress for you, of course, I am based out of Bangalore and I can relate with traffic, the stress caused by traffic to a lot of people. So if traffic is a stress causing agent to you, then you will have to have a different mechanism to cope with it. Of course, I can talk about different mechanisms individually because when I'm talking in a generic way, you may have to find out different mechanisms on your own, but they all have to be based out of the emotions and not the distractions. That is the point that I would like to emphasize, that you will have to recognize the emotion and then acknowledge it and find the sources and then figure out what are the mechanism to cope with it. And mechanism is primarily regulating your emotion, and regulating emotions is very easy. A lot of people think when you become emotional or when you get more emotional, it is difficult to deal with it. No, it is very easy if you are able to look at where is the emotion coming from. Suppose you are feeling sad and that is causing stress to you, or suppose you are feeling angry and that is causing stress to you. The easiest way is to find how best you can communicate your anger to the person who is causing anger to you. I give you an example. In one of the workshops that I was conducting, what happened is I was conducting this for teachers, and I presumed that teachers will be very, very disciplined in their participation. So I had given an instruction during just before leaving for the lunch break that don't speak to each other, introspect whatever has been done during the workshop. So I presume they will follow it, but later I realized that none of them had followed. and I got stressed. And the primary emotion was anger. And I was also feeling that I was not valued. What I did is I expressed my anger without violent or in a non-violent way, substantiating the reason why I was asking them to keep quiet and what was the purpose of all the instruction that was given. And then they understood it. So my anger went down, my stress also came down, and the workshop or the training program that I was conducting went to another level. So if you are able to recognize the emotion and then figure out a way to convey it, a lot of us also have an inhibition in expressing our emotion. When somebody asks, "How are you?" we are conditioned to say, "I'm good," even if you are feeling pathetic, even if you are feeling helpless, even if you are feeling not well. Please start acknowledging your emotions and conveying your emotions. When you communicate to people about your emotions, a lot of stress will go down. So response is better than reaction. Most of us have a tendency to react in the first place and then think what has actually happened. Instead of that, whenever something is happening, hold yourself, think about it, and then respond. That is more effective and long lasting.